Welcome to Fiery Discourse, your podcast and media featuring dragonesses, female dinosaurs, and other similar saurians and scalies. I'm your host, Ludmillanon, and with me are my co-hosts, Angron, Mathmachine and The Shark. Today is our 117th episode, and we're discussing the 2005 Xiaolin Showdown episode, Oil in the Family. So, let's get things started.
Xiaolin Showdown.
Yep, no better way to open it than with that. So yeah, Xiaolin Showdown was a show from the 2000s that really was an enjoyable time. It's one of those shows that kind of passed me by when it first came out, but upon rewatching it, for this podcast, after watching this episode, I checked out a bunch of others, and it's a really fun time. It's one that is really, really enjoyable. Like, I'm actually shocked I kind of missed this thing, but go ahead, Angron.
This was 100% part of my childhood. This was a show I grew up watching alongside other WB and Cartoon Network shows. And to this day, I still look back on the memories fondly. This episode that we're going to cover in particular, especially so, because I remember how interesting it was. It was basically a dino challenging Raimundo to chess, of all things. Dino chess, even, but we'll get to that later. Shark?
Yeah, like a lot of W Kids shows, definitely a lot of people do have fond memories of the show. I was so huge that they will make like all those commercials where the characters will interact with each other. The characters here will show up in those as well. So even if you didn't watch this show, you might as well recognize these characters because if you watch the commercials, again, they will be there.
Yeah.
Yep.
Go ahead, Matt.
And yeah, like how last week we were constantly praising the villain of the movie rather than the main character. I feel like we're going to be doing the exact same with this series with Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius.
Yeah,
yes.
that was the character. Yeah, that was a character after watching this. I really, really enjoyed this because it is really, like, he is a fantastic character. Like, you could tell that whoever made this show, he was definitely the fan favorite because, man, the writing on this guy, just the vocal performance of his VA is just amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
And for the record, every time I bring him up, I will be saying Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, because like Cat Williams said, it's like a Tribe Called Quest. You gotta say the whole thing.
Yep.
Perfect. Yeah. But yeah, like I say, so Xiaolin Showdown basically was about 4 young monks, which consists of Ami, the smallest of the group, who kind of resembles Krillin to me. I wonder if that was like an intentional kind of character design thing there or not.
I'd believe it, honestly. But yeah, he pretty much looks like Krillin, but his voice basically sounds like Tara Strong, all things considered. Like a Tara Strong-esque character.
Yeah, it's basically the same voice as Timmy Turner. There's Kimiko, who is the only female of the group. There is Raimundo, who is not Raimundo from Rocket Power, so I will not get to see him karate chop the guy who goes, "Is the fish taco shaped like the fish?"
If only it was him or Tito.
I've never heard of that, but that sounds interesting.
And the last one is Clay, who is a cowboy voiced by Jeff Bennett. So that is awesome right there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, something about this show is that this really had a stacked voice acting cast. Like, this really, like, Tom Kenny, Tara Strong, Gray DeLisi, not Gray Griffin, Jeff Bennett, it's Wayne Knight. It has a cast, like, a lot of animated shows would, like, dream of having half of them. And it really is something else.
I'm so excited to talk about this now.
Yep, and we will in a second. But first, go ahead, Matt.
So we got Tom Kenny, SpongeBob, Jeff Bennett, Johnny Bravo, Wayne Knight, Zurg. Get your bingo cards ready, folks. This is going to be a quick one.
Yep, definitely going to be a fun one, too. A lot of references we can make in that. But the show itself begins with the theme song, which is really just awesome because the way it shows all 4 of the monks and their fighting styles, as well as like showcasing the various villains that they fight, including Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, which, yes, I will take a cue from Math in that way.
Also, get ready to see a whole crap ton of spirals because this show read freaking Uzumaki and was completely hypnotized because there are a lot of spirals in this show. Even in the entrance, especially.
Yep. Now that you mention it, I can see it. Now, Something I want to mention about the intro that was really cool is that this intro one was one of those evolving intros. Like every season, it will change to showcase stuff that was introduced in the previous one. Like when we see the monks in the first season opening, their background is just a blank piece of scroll. But during the third season, when they get all elemental powers, it changes. So like they show Omi with water, Kimiko with fire, etc. Same with the villains at the end, where in the first season they only show like the base villains, but in the second season they start adding more and more. So it's a cool detail whenever an intro does that.
Yep. I can definitely see that, and it's like it always is nice when shows do that because it's one of those things. It makes it feel more like a more desirable to watch, if that makes any sense. To see it like evolve and change and grow, it makes it seem like the show's changing with you, which is always kind of a nice thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. So basically, the episode itself, the ending shot, right before we begin the episode, the ending shot of all the heroes and villains trying to fight each other is a really, really cool sequence. And I gotta just say is that's a perfect way to hype up a kid for a show. I can imagine if I saw this and I was young, I would have absolutely ate this thing up. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, I absolutely did when I was a kid. But looking back on it nowadays, it's honestly kind of funny. Like, you get them being all serious, macho, and whatnot. But like one moment where we see like Jack Spire just going like, pointing at the enemies, while on the other side, it's freaking Omi doing like the Shaolin monk finger pose thing. Trust me, they did their research on that. And then it just cuts to them just charging at each other all freaking wild, like.
Yeah, exactly. It is something that is
love
really,
Yeah.
just so cool. Yeah. But basically, the episode itself begins in Chase's lair with Wuya, another villainess, lamenting at her current state as an evil being, knowing that being evil was easier when she was a ghost. So obviously, she probably tormented Danny Phantom at one time as well.
Yeah.
Suddenly, the woman then sits up in shock as she senses a new Shengon Wu, which are kind of like the magical artifacts that they had to collect in the show. They all have various powers, and they all basically can do various things. Go ahead, Angron.
Honestly, I would not lament your case too much, Wuya. You went from a freaking tiny spiral mask ghost thing to pretty much being a freaking near ebony hot sorceress. So I wouldn't I wouldn't worry about it too much.
Yep.
Also, Shark.
It's kind of interesting how in the 2000 eras there were actually a lot of shows about collecting stuff. Like, I guess it's because of the Pokemon craze in some way, but like you have this show where they had to collect the woos. Even shows like Jake Long, they have this arc where they had to collect the crystal skulls and all that. And yeah, what seems to be like, or heroes has to collect X thing was a common trend back then.
Yep. And let's not forget, they also did that with the Lilo and Stitch show, where they basically had to collect all the experiments and find them to good homes and stuff like that. So yeah, that really was a trend. I think again, it shows how influential Pokemon was, that it spawned not only like the monster collecting show, which we're probably still having fallout from, but at the same time, just a plot line in general. That really shows how influential that Pokemon was, which is really, really incredible.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So anyway, she plans on taking this Shengon Wu, which is called the Rio Reverso, before Chase himself walks in. Now, Chase is one of the original Xiaolin monks, but he turned evil for both power and immortality, and he has a really cool design. Not gonna lie, I like the spikes in that. Definitely early 2000s. Let's say it that way.
Yeah, I like how he also transforms into a freaking lizard man, which is metal as all hell. Like, more Shaolin monks should do something like that outside of D&D.
Yeah, and of course we'll get more of that in a little bit too. But for now, basically, what happens is Chase asks Wuya if she's going to try and get the Rio Reverso, but she quickly lies and says that she was thinking about changing her hairstyle. He threatens her that if she betrays him, she won't have any hair as he leaves. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Planning to betray me and collect Shengon was behind my back? What? No.
Yeah.
Perfect,
Cue the freaking Mark Wahlberg line.
Yeah, Mark Wahlberg is not a good guy, but that's a good joke. Wow. But anyway, Wuya then notes that she doesn't trust Chase as well, Then she tells a nearby crow to work for her, feeding it grapes to get her trust. I guess this means only one thing. Diablo went to work for her after being mistreated by Maleficent one too many times.
Nice.
Yep.
Yeah, that or she hired the crow.
That too. But yeah, we then see a little demonstration on how the Rio Reverso works because we see it has the power to turn things from its a new form to an original form because it's shown here by turning a wooden chair back into a giant tree. So definitely an
And then a
interesting thing. Oh, I didn't even notice that part. Wow. But yeah, that is really, really interesting how they basically form with it. But anyway, we then cut to the monks riding around on Dojo, their dragon, as they're being chased. Now, Dojo is not the reason we're discussing this one because he is male. He's kind of the standard Eastern dragon, and he is voiced by none other than Wayne Knight, a.k.a. Newman, and for us, Dennis Nedry and Zurg. And yes, there will be a Transdipulator episode, and no, it won't be right now.
Also, I honestly thought it was John DiMaggio at first.
No, believe it or not, I think it was Wayne Knight. Pretty good at recognizing the voice. But anyway, Shark, you were saying?
Yeah, I was going to say that the Transfibulator is the Shengon Wu they were looking for all this time.
Okay. Well, we got it out of the way. But anyway, sorry to interrupt you.
Yeah. Meanwhile, Jackbot attack.
Yep. They're being chased by Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, and his Jackbots. And right away, Jack Spicer is absolutely hilarious. Like, you could really tell that this guy, they had a lot of fun with his design being kind of like a kabuki mask, and to the voice acting is just incredible. And man, you could easily tell why this guy became the standout of the show for a lot of people. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, imagine freaking Dr. Draken if he was younger and he had a spiral fetish, like I said earlier. Not subtle at all.
I definitely said. Oh, go ahead, Matt.
I made this comparison, and since I thought of it, it just fits more and more perfectly. Initially, when the series started, Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius was it attempted to be a threatening and imposing villain, but as the episodes went on, it only lasted for like 10. He became more and more comedic and yuck, and it felt like he became something of a WB's answer to Ron Stoppable. And the Ron comparisons are actually very accurate for him being an evil Ron, particularly in that Ron is very much afraid of monkeys, and Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius's favorite Shengon Wu was the monkey staff.
Huh.
Nice.
That is interesting. That was like intentional. That is really, really interesting that they like take a thing like that and kind of turn on its thing. So I give a lot of credit for that. Wow.
Yeah, I can kind of see it being a sort of a more brainy version of like Sun Wukong. Also, another comparison: Crouching Eggman, hidden Dr. Draken again.
Yeah. Nice. So yeah, basically what happens, of course, is that the group make it to land as Ami says that they will polish their watches, only for Raimundo to correct that they will clean their clocks. It's kind of a running gag that Ami gets like phrases and that wrong, and it's a cute one, you know.
Yeah.
However, Wuya is watching this from behind a tree and laughs, saying that if they all take each other out, the real reverser is for her and her alone. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, the running gag with Ami, there's a really funny one that unfortunately is not in this episode, where he goes that he who loves the hardest loves the last. And Raimundo says, what Ami did to that sentence, we're going to do to you.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
I don't remember that episode, but that 100% works.
Yeah.
But yeah, so basically what happens is that Clay approaches several robots and punches the ground, causing rock spears to come up and smash the robots. Apparently, by this point in the series, they had all gotten like elemental powers, which makes me kind of wonder if they were trying to ride off the coattails of Avatar just a little bit, because that also came out around the same time as this episode, but could be a coincidence.
A little bit.
However, Ami chases the robots before being chased by them. He then leaps into the water and creates a tidal wave, causing several of them to crash into the ground. Jack, meanwhile, wonders where the Rio Reverso is as we cut to Kimiko dodging several of the drones in the trees before using her fire ability to propel herself forward and smash them. Raimundo uses his wind ability to smash several of them before Wuya sees this and reasons that Jack needs some help. Wuya then pulls out another Shengon Wu, the Ruby of Ramses, to control Jack, which causes him to bounce around like a pinball and smack into all the others, which, although it's called the Ruby of Ramses, there is one unfortunate element to it. It does not play King Ramses! The man in Oz, the man in Oz, he's not
Nice,
Santa
nice.
Claus!
Saw that coming.
Had to reference it.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Ruby of Ramses, pretty much Cecil B. DeMille's writing crop of Warehouse 13. For those who know, you know.
Perfect. But yeah, I love that when it cuts to Wuya's smug expression as she's controlling it. It is just amazing. It's one of those shows that I'm glad that they're not. I'm really glad that they're not afraid to make the villains comical when they want to be with stuff like Wuya and Jack. While Chase being completely serious, it actually plays better to their strengths. You know, that them being the more comedic villains and Chase being the serious, no nonsense ones. It has a really nice dynamic to it, which you get more of later on.
Yeah, that's definitely a nice thing about the show. Like, it's got to have at least one straight man, but that one straight man helps carry things a long way comedy-wise.
Easily. But yep, eventually his body knocks out all of them. Just as Dojo finds the Rio Reverso, Jack then smacks right into Dojo as he thinks he did it all by himself in a pretty funny joke, saying, "I guess I don't know my own evil strength." Wuya laughs at how it will be safe with Jack and easy to retrieve from him at the same exact time. We then come back to the monks. They go back to Master Fung's dojo, lamenting how they were beaten by Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius. Master Fung, who is voiced by none other than the legendary Maurice LaMarche. That just shows, again, that it just keeps coming and coming with these voice actors.
Dang.
Yep.
He begins telling them that loss is an acceptable part of success. However, Raimundo is upset about this, hearing another lecture about how being beaten is good and that. And it's kind of like, I guess in Dungeons and Dragons, it's a very much similar thing with the complainer character. And I wonder if that was like intentional or not. But anyway, Angron, you were saying?
Yeah, basically, his lesson here very much reminds me of Cobalian's lesson from Kieran versus the Swords of Justice. It's what you learn from defeat that is most important, which definitely works here, all things considered.
Yeah, I definitely can see that. And also, what happens next, of course, is that Master Fung tries telling Raimundo that it's the journey that counts, as Raimundo doesn't want to hear it, saying, "Journeys are for tours," and instead planning to go and take the Rio Reverso from Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, by force. Master Fung warns him that a house built on poor foundation will surely crumble. Raimundo notes that we're not building a house, we're losing, as he storms off. Obviously, he's going to one place. He's going to Karate Island because he wants to buy a timeshare from Master Udon.
Nice.
Nice.
He will be familiar with the place after all.
Yep, definitely.
Where was that from again?
It's a SpongeBob episode. But
Right.
anyway, Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, we then come back to him as he uses the Rio Reverso on a football, turning into a pig. Unfortunately, he did not use Luigi's football because it's a stone, Luigi. You didn't make it. It's a football. I chiseled it. But anyway, speaking of which, he then puts a chicken on the table, eager to find out which came first, the chicken or the egg. When he blasts it with the Rio Reverso, it turns from an egg into a chicken over and over and over again. I do like that he stares in the camera and he basically goes, "I guess there's some answers we are never meant to know," which really, really funny right there.
Yeah, it's basically one of the, to quote Megamind, one of life's great mysteries.
Exactly. However, some oil then leaks from a machine as he blasts it, which ends up creating a baby dinosaur. Jack then turns to the screen yet again and breaks the fourth wall, and he says how he can create an evil army of dinosaurs, and how, "I always wanted an evil army of dinosaurs," which must mean only one thing that is very important for the podcast. Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, now joins Michelangelo, Lightning McQueen, and DDD and Escargoon as canonical dinosaur fans. Which, not a bad group to be in, let's do it that way. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah.
So one of those folks is going to start a podcast.
That would be amazing. I would listen to it just for DDD alone.
Yeah, that would be pretty amazing. Also, unlike Lightning McQueen, freaking DDD, and the other one,
Yeah.
Jack actually got his start as a kid. So basically, he has been into dinosaurs way longer and knows exactly what he's doing for the most part.
Yep. However, the crow watches this before returning to Wuya. Wuya, meanwhile, watches this and notes how pathetic Jack is and how he should not be able to he should not be the one who holds all that power. She says she'll obtain all the Shengon Woos in the world and that Chase will be serving her. However, the crow then flies back to Chase in a pretty neat twist and chirps in his ear as he laughs how predictable Wuya is. And yeah, it is pretty fun how they actually did that little bit of subversion with the crow actually being Chase's pet in that. You know, I give him all the credit for that. Oh, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, whole betrayal thing between the villains, and it actually gets pointed out later in the episode with a very funny quote.
Yep, it definitely does. However, we then cut back to Raimundo infiltrating Jack's base. He then sees the Rio Reverso with security that, in a hilarious moment, is literally just a sticky note that says, "Do not touch." And like I say, that's one of those things that really got a good laugh out of me. Like, that was his level of security. At least we think it is. Oh, go ahead, Chuck.
Well, time for the character voiced by Tom Kenny to do something his pal Bill Bradaga does. Touch.
Perfect.
Nice.
Angron, you were saying?
Oh, man. Yeah, like I said, Crouching Eggman, hidden freaking Dr. Draken.
Yep, easily. But when he does touch the Rio Reverso, basically one of the baby dinosaurs arrives and begins snapping at him before two others show up and do the same. Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, then arrives and shows off his new security detail, which he names Dino Dude, Dino Dash, and Dino Gal. And we get a really cute kind of I'm trying to think of what the right word would be, like, I guess cutscene kind of appearance of them, which is really, really funny. You know?
Yeah.
They did that as well.
Yeah, also I like how Dino Gal gets the semi-cutie panel, and it's at that point where Jack Spicer's just like, he's so cute! Which I feel him hard.
Yeah,
we all
do. Easily. And what happens, though, Raimundo asks what they dino want, as Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius remarks, a dino meal, of course, as the trio of dinosaurs lunge at him. Raimundo tells him to stop the dino talks, it's getting annoying, but then, in a moment that really made me laugh, because it just was how much of a petty jerk this guy is, Jack Spicer then begins putting dino over every other word, just to be as annoying as possible.
Yep.
Which I love characters that are like that. Like, he's not only evil, he's also a jerk, which is always funny.
Yeah, he knows exactly what he did. Like, yeah, I'm gonna say he totally did that to freaking Raz Raimundo a little bit.
Yeah, it's a great moment. So yeah, what happens next basically is that the team then arrives as Ami says that they will make him chew on that sentence, with Clay correcting him to say "eat those words" instead. Jack then says they're just in time for dinner, as Kimiko says they could take the dinosaurs. However, Jack Spicer then snaps his fingers as even more dinosaurs appear, and I just love his facial expressions. Like I say, I know last week we gushed a lot about Hades. This week we're probably going to gush a lot about this guy, because just the facial expressions on this guy, man, it's like he's so smug and cocky, and it is just amazing. So hilarious,
He has every right to be here. Like, he took the time to make an entire freaking dinosaur army. Like, mad props to the guy for not only being a dino fanboy, but basically is taking all that time to bring back pretty much half the freaking Cretaceous, Jurassic, and or Mesozoic periods. Like, good lordy.
Yeah, it is amazing. However, the dinosaurs then all run at the group, and just when you think that they're about to attack them, they all stop to look at a butterfly, then they look at the beautiful sunny day outside, and I love, in a little bit of funny subversion, they all just run outside to play in the sun, and Jack, of course, laments his failure, knowing that he turned them from puddles of oil into dinosaurs and that he couldn't get them to do anything. Clay then says that they're going to do that to him as well, as Jack stammers, and I love this too. It shows also this guy, for being like a villain of the show, he has a lot of character development. I give him all the credit in the world for how much character they put into this guy who very easily could have been a one-note kind of villain type. He nervously stammers out that, I have a backup plan. All villains have a backup plan, right? And it's like, you really get a feel of his personality here, that he's like doing a lot of this on the fly and that. And he then gets to his next plan, which is sending his jackbots at him. And of course, we get back to more of the group fighting all the robots again, as Raimundo sees Jack driving off in an ATV. Raimundo then uses his wind powers to follow Jack before he sees wuya sitting in a tree. She then uses the Ruby of Ramses to lift up the ATV, smashing into Raimundo as the pair collapse. However, wuya catches the Rio Reverso in midair, and at another hilarious moment, Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, he demands for his woo back in such a whiny way. And of course, wuya then chastises him for whining as Jack whines that he is not whining and demands it back again. Ami then shows up again and says a nonsensical sentence of mixed up metaphors. And go ahead, Angron, before we give the punchline of that.
Yeah, I basically like I basically hear this and I just remember the line from the MLP, the Diamond Dog episode where freaking Rarity's like, I'm not whining, I'm complaining.
Perfect. That's exactly what I thought. Yeah, I'll go ahead, Matt.
I feel like the entire time this is happening, Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, is just thinking to himself, I need a dino to clobber that there Omi.
Perfect. And DDD did too. That was the point of that episode as well.
Yeah, good times.
Classic. Yeah. But yeah, I do love how it takes everybody a while just to stop and parse what Ami said before Jack manages to untangle what he said. And he dances and shows off his giant evil genius badge in his coat, which, again, he's just such a little jerk. It's so great.
He is.
However,
he's such a
go ahead,
dweeb.
Shark.
I do love the implication that he made himself a medal about how evil and genius he is, and he has it around just for these kind of moments.
Yeah, like I said, you can really tell that they have a lot of fun with him with those kind of moments. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, this guy is basically the WB equivalent of like Doofenshmirtz or again Dr. Draken. He like loves to flaunt his villainy in the faces of his enemies so freaking much. It's honestly kind of hilarious every time he does.
Oh man, yeah, Doofenshmirtz would be absolutely amazing in this show. Like really, really hilarious stuff. Go ahead, Matt.
Yeah, this was easily the best joke in the entire episode, and the man deserved his best worst star.
Nice.
Easily.
Best worst behavior. Jack Spicer,
Perfect.
Evil Boy Genius.
Yeah, it's just perfect. So, go. Yeah, but yeah, like I said, classic. So, what happens next basically is that wuya says that Jack won in a sarcastic manner. Then she uses the Ruby of Ramses to basically control his body and make him into an expert fighter, having him easily defeat the others while being not in control of his body. The evil genius then collapses as wuya laughs, saying that she has evil to do and flies off, as Jack says in a really hilarious whiny way as well, "No fair! That's my evil taunt!" before he collapses into the ground. Really,
Yeah,
just amazing stuff.
Good lordy. Dr. Doofenshmirtz meanwhile is just like, write that down! Peritoplasma is tied up just writing down all the stuff Jack Spicer does.
Classic. So yeah, basically what happens next is that sorry about that. But yeah, basically what happens next is we then cut back to the dojo as Raimundo says it was all his fault as they all rushed in. Kimiko says that it was all their fault as they were eager to fight Jack. Also, hey there, Stryker. Stryker just joined the episode, so even though I said he wouldn't be here in the intro, he is here now, so that's good. How's it going?
I'm pretty good.
Good.
How about you?
Yep.
Xiaolin Showdown. We were talking about Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius.
Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius.
Exactly. Perfect. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So right now, the part we're at is basically Ami says that being beaten by wuya makes more sense than being beaten by Jack, and it's like I love how that's what he's more concerned about. That oh right, Jack didn't beat us, wuya did. The universe is back to normal.
Omi has his priorities.
Definitely. Go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, basically just Omi pretty much saying that it was someone far more competent than Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius. It's honestly pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I love how they are relieved. Like, oh, okay, makes sense. Our honor is still intact, at least.
Yeah. The world is still
Classic.
normal.
Yep. He then makes ice hats to them in a really cute moment in that I love that they do that they show that they're friends, you know? They're not just like, allies, like fighting or sparring partners. They're also friends, and that is always a fun thing when shows like this do that. Oh, go ahead and run.
I also like the little touches that Omi does with the ice hats. Like, Omi has a little beanie, Cowboy has an ice cowboy hat, no duh. Raimundo has like a baseball cap because he's New York, canonically, and Kimiko has like a little hat thing that I've seen Lyra from Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver wear.
I think it's a Tam O'Shanter.
Whatever that is, yeah.
Irish cap.
An Irish cap.
Nice.
Good
yeah.
times.
Yep. So basically, what happens though is that Raimundo says with wuya having the Rio Reverso, they still have big problems. However, Ami says that they can beat some dinosaurs, knowing that they're not scary like squirrels. The others look bemused at this, but they shouldn't be bemused. Look at Sandy. Look at her in karate.
Yep.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah, they 100% would get their butts kicked by frickin' Sandy if she ever
exactly.
came into that world. Also, Omi not being afraid of dinosaurs, based.
Yep, exactly. Raimundo says that wuya would probably think of something much larger, as Chase then realizes an old family is saying, follow the oil. So I guess he is the lost member of the Ewing family right then and there. And I'll just say one thing. Thank God J.R. Ewing did not have any access to the Shengon Wu, because that guy had ruled the world by Tuesday.
Oh, God.
But we then cut to Chase training before Jack arrives, meekly asking for help from Chase as Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, then says that he put a tracker on the Rio Reverso, and in a funny moment he says, that's particularly evil, in a little aside. But it turns out that he tells him that wuya stole the Rio Reverso. However, Chase, far from being upset at this, he lets out a smirk as Jack Spicer then makes a deal with Chase that Chase can get wuya and Jack can get a hold of the Rio Reverso. Chase then sharpens the spikes on his shoulders, causing Jack to fall backwards and smash his water bottle. Chase agrees to the terms as Jack says that Evil Boy Genius is finally getting some respect around here, which is a great line. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, honestly, that joke right there with the water bottle, like, good lordy, that is certainly one that aged mid, in my opinion. But yeah, what happens next with Jack, basically, he gets thrown off a cliff by Chase, but then he's like flying with his twin-bladed helicopter pack, and he's like laughing like it's no big deal.
Yep, exactly. Go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, I like how this is like a recurring thing. Like Jack admires Chase so much that even though Chase is clearly trying to get rid of him, he doesn't see it. Like here, he throws him off a cliff and he's like, "Ha, perfect, let's go, my pal."
Yeah, he 100% is fanboying hard, or at least is,
easily. Matt, you were saying?
Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, is nothing if not an optimist.
Always has been.
Perfect.
Like Dr. Draken.
And like David Schwartz, exactly. But Chase, basically, I love how then immediately after, Chase throws Jack off the cliff as Jack Spicer falls before activating his flying device as Chase quickly follows him. We then cut to an We then cut to an oil rig where wuya uses the Rio Reverso to turn oil from an oil derrick into a T-Rex, and this is actually the reason we're discussing this episode, this T-Rex, and there is a little bit of a twist to it later that we'll discuss in a very, very short while. If only Bruce Willis is on this oil rig, everything could have all been avoided, Way wrong answer! Classic. But anyway, Dojo and the others arrive as Kimiko notes that they are all too late. Dojo says they will have to take evasive action, and when Kimiko asks what it is, Dojo says that he doesn't know as the T-Rex swats them all away with her tail. And again, if only he had the transdipulator, he could have used it to evade the T-Rex. It's so obvious. Anyway, go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, something I wasn't mentioning is a cool detail is that the amount of oil actually dictates like the size of the T-Rex, because Jack had only like small amounts of oil, I guess barrels, and he could only create baby dinosaurs. Wuya, however, had a whole oil rig, and she used it to make a adult giant-sized T-Rex. So, okay, this is something they actually thought about.
Yeah, I always like when shows do that.
Yeah, that's actually pretty dang clever. Like, the size of the oil dictates the dinosaurs. Like, just imagine if she freaking used the whole freaking oil platform to make something like a Apatosaurus or something like that. That would have been overkill.
That would have been really, really interesting. However, we then got cut to commercial break. When we cut back, we cut to Ami complaining about pressure in his head, as it turns out to be Clay accidentally sitting on him. Meanwhile, Wuya is cooing over the T-Rex, feeding her sugar cubes, and she does call the T-Rex her, so that pretty much confirms it, even before the twist, basically. Instructing her to eat the quartet, starting with the one that looks like a cheese ball, which enrages Ami so much over being called a cheese ball. It is so funny that that's the thing that sets him off. Not that a dinosaur is going to eat him, not that he's been beaten up 3 to 4 times that day. It's being called a cheese ball that really just sets him off.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Shark.
Yeah, so in this part we see that Wuya is not as different as Jack as she claims, because she's going for dinosaurs as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also,
Again, that's
I mean,
a really fun moment. Oh, sorry, go ahead, Angron.
yeah, I mean, if you had a head that looked like a freaking golden ball from freaking Dandadan, or again a cheese ball, you'd be a little miffed too.
Easily. However, Clay tries to tell Omni that the T-Rex is way above his weight class. Dojo, meanwhile, tries to compliment the T-Rex, and sadly it does not as work for well as him as it did for Donkey and Shrek.
Nice.
However, then we get kind of one of the 2 big twists of the episode as Chase shows up, asking basically what she is doing. I like how immediately when Chase shows up, Wuya's demeanor instantly changes. Like, instantly. She becomes a complete nervous wreck as soon as she sees him. Basically saying that she was going to give the Rio Reverso to Chase as a gift. And like I say, I really do like that, how this guy is so powerful. He completely changes the dynamic of anyone as soon as he shows up. Kind of like him from the Powerpuff Girls, come to think of it in that way.
Yeah. It's also pretty interesting, seeing Wuya of all beings, like conniving, completely manipulative, and basically a 100% thought, let's be honest. Pretty much going from sinister to meek in a moment, because she actively, like, fears Chase. Like, she knows what he's capable of, but we don't yet. Like, for all we know, he's basically just a freaking lizard folk god or something like that. And he could probably have more. He could probably just have something over her that 100% makes her a nervous wreck. Also, again, making Jack fanboy over someone like him. Let's be honest,
exactly.
we all have one of those moments.
Exactly. It's a great moment. So basically, Jack then arrives and says that she's lying and she stole from him. He demands that the T-Rex be made his, but then the T-Rex roars in his face, causing him to reconsider such things.
Oh, yours?
Of course. A great moment. Wuya then berates Jack for selling her out, as Jack says that he is working with Chase. Ami notices all of the crisscrossing and says that there is truly no honor amongst thieves. Yep.
Yeah,
However,
if only Jack, Wuya, and Chase used to work with frickin' Diane.
Yeah, or the bad guys in general. Would have worked better for them there. But Wuya then has the T-Rex attack all of them. However, then we get to Chase as he turns into his lizard man form and roars at her. And again, this form is really, really cool looking. It's a shame that like Wuya wasn't the one who could become like a lizard woman, but no, I can't edit everything. It really is neat how it incorporates a lot of Chase's design in it, which I give him all the credit for that. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, Chase's lizard design looks awesome. We saw it in the opening, but seeing it here is pretty dang amazing. Like, we got, again, a freaking lizard kami like over here, and like the mere sight of him is enough for Wuya to pretty much like nearly soil herself, and enough for Jack to basically nearly cream himself. Let's be fair.
Basically. However, he then pulls out the eagle scope, which then is the reason why we're discussing this episode, because it causes the T-Rex to go from a feral beast into an intelligent creature. Much like the Krypto the Superdog episode, she speaks with a British accent and asks very, very sophisticated, that's always fun when they do that kind of thing. You know, It always is. Here she's voiced by Tara Strong, but it's actually kind of hard to tell it's her, because number one is the British accent, and number two, they kind of electronically pitched her voice to where it's deeper and lower. So it's actually kind of hard to tell it's Tara, believe it or not. One of the few times when it kind of is for one of her vocal performances, but she still does a really, really good job with it. Oh, let's see, a lot of things here. Let's see, Matt, you were going to say?
To bring this back to Doofenshmirtz, if I had a nickel for every time a dinosaur ended up speaking with a British accent, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it's happened twice.
Yep.
Exactly. Angron, you were saying?
Oh man, yeah, there are two things. Both designs of the T-Rex in this show are pretty amazing. We have the feral one where she basically has red eyes with yellow pupils, looking down and pretty much being an absolute animal because of it. But then we get her eyes looking all normal and toned down British voice, which I absolutely love. And here, she's basically pretty calculating. She's smart. She's basically just in it because she wants a frickin' meal. But how she goes about doing it, like she's shown to have intellect thanks to the Eagle Scope, and it's amazing seeing her in action every time. Like she's smart enough to play frickin' chess. Let's put it that way. That is something that I did not expect this show doing, but I remember this episode because of that, so I 100% believe it.
Yeah, easily. So basically what happens, of course, is that I do like how as soon as the T-Rex becomes intelligent, she immediately says that she hasn't had anything to eat for 60 million years. She then turns to Wuya and berates her for thinking that the woman could buy her off with mere sugar cubes. Wuya, shocked at this, asks Chase what he did, as he remarks that he was giving the T-Rex a new outlook on life. However, the T-Rex then backs Wuya into a corner as Chase and Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, prepare to leave. Basically, I love this moment too, that Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, asks Chase, "Oh boy, what are we gonna do next, Chase?" And Chase instantly just rolls his eyes and basically just throws Jack to the T-Rex, saying that when you're done with Wuya, you can eat him as well. And it's like, what did you think was gonna happen? For an Evil Boy Genius doesn't mean you're smart.
I guess it's a self-proclaimed title.
True.
Yeah, that is true.
Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, is indeed a narcissist. And
very much is.
Easily. But the T-Rex then smells Jack, wondering what that wonderful aroma is, as he says it's his new cologne before she stomps on him. Wuya then tries using the Ruby of Ramses to attack the T-Rex with Jack's body, but of course it does no damage to her because T-Rex skulls were harder than diamonds, so, that's probably what happened here. The T-Rex then throws Jack off to the side and prepares to eat Wuya. Wuya has Jack use the changing chopsticks, a shrinking device, and here's where Jack shows, again, he's not the smartest guy around, despite being, again, Evil Boy Genius, because she basically wants him to use the changing chopsticks on the dinosaur to turn her tiny. However, Jack then uses it on her as, in a hilarious moment, the shrunk-down Wuya basically kicks him and berates him for being so stupid. It's like the moment of SpongeBob where Mr. Krabs hands SpongeBob the fire extinguisher. Here, use this, and he throws the fire extinguisher at the grill
Here,
on
use
fire. Classic. It's exactly like that. However, Jack then uses it on himself and basically stands there with a smug expression like, look how smart I am, before she kicks him. It's a great moment. That to me is the funniest moment. It's like the smug, like, oh yeah, I did it right this time. Perfect.
That moment kind of looked like Wuya was like folding her arms at Jack, like, and he knew exactly what was happening. Like he was still being 100% an egotist, but he just basically turns around like he was expecting her to do that, and she did that. It's one of those bizarre things that definitely was one of those weird moments, but I still like it. It's funny.
Yeah, it's great. Shark, you were saying?
Yeah, to show how much of a genius he is, his second attempt using the chopsticks was not to once again use it on the dinosaur. It was using it on himself so he can get kicked in the butt.
Yeah. However, the pair then return to normal size. They prepare to fight the T-Rex, only for her to swat them away into the distance. The T-Rex then picks up the chopsticks, then remembers that she was there to eat them and begins chasing down the heroes. I do like the one where Chase tells Dojo, can you talk to her? Because you're practically one of them. However, Dojo gets offended, saying, that's like saying you're practically a monkey, and then rants about how dragons are superior to dinosaurs in a really funny way. Go ahead, Angron.
Okay, firstly, Dojo Dragon Supremacy can only get you so far against freaking a T-Rex with chopsticks. Secondly, speaking of T-Rex with chopsticks, it's honestly kind of funny her holding a pair of chopsticks wanting to freaking eat everyone on there, which, yeah. I think you can put together why that's funny and how funny that ultimately is. Like, oh, hey, I'm going to have some dim sum tonight. And everyone's like, oh, shit.
Yeah,
I mean, she's hunting for food right now.
Yep.
Easily.
She's going to have some ramen tonight.
Yep. Matt, you were saying?
I want to know if there was something about the mid-2000s that made them go, oh yes, if we make a dinosaur intelligent, we not only have to make them British, we have to make them fancy British.
Yeah, because Krypto did the exact same thing, and I have to say this one is probably better than the Krypto example because, again, this one is on screen with the British accent for longer. I feel like this is doing what I wanted that episode to do in a way.
For the most part, yeah. I like the Krypto one because she looks nicer, and to be honest, she has a justified reason for wanting to eat freaking Ignatius. But yeah, I like this one as well. It's fun. She does the whole British thing on screen more often, and yeah, it's Xiaolin Showdown. I mean, it's pretty great, and it kind of stacks up a little bit against Krypto the Superdog.
Easily. But what happens is that what happens next, though, is that the group gets trapped on top of the oil rig as the dinosaur snorts at them. They all try using their weapons on the T-Rex, but it turns out she can tank all of them. Clay's shuriken lands into the oil rig and leaks oil everywhere. The T-Rex then catches Kimiko's fire and sarcastically says that she takes her tea hotter than that and spits it back at them. Kimiko then uses her fire shield to block them all from the explosion that ensues, because again, oil was literally leaking everywhere. When it does so, the Rio Reverso and the Ruby of Ramses fall into two separate places. The T-Rex, meanwhile, goes for the Rio Reverso as Kimiko worries about them being the ones extinct if they don't stop her. Raimundo finally says that he has a plan as he slides onto the oil, picking up both the Ruby of Ramses and getting to the Rio Reverso at the exact same time as the T-Rex. He then challenges the T-Rex to a Xiaolin Showdown as she claims that they will instead play Jurassic chess, which this is a fun little set piece of the episode right here. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
Roll credits. Also, yeah, I love this moment. It's not the best Xiaolin Showdown compared to other stuff like Truth or Lie or something else, but yeah, this one is definitely very unique, and I was very excited to see it.
Yep. Stryker, you were saying? Oh, sorry, Shark, sorry, you were saying?
And considering who is who, well, if you ever want to see Twilight Sparkle and SpongeBob playing chess, here you go.
Yep. Or alternatively, Bubbles versus the mayor of Townsville.
Also that.
That too. Stryker, you were saying now?
Growing up with Xiaolin Showdown, this was always the highlight of the episode.
Mm-hmm.
Every episode, in fact. This was actually like, you know how they do like Monster of the Week in anime. This is
It's
usually
a once per episode thing.
Yes, it's a once per episode thing. And they always have it varied by different showdowns each episode. This episode was, dinosaur
chess.
Yeah, it really is fun.
Yeah,
Sorry.
Yu-Gi-Oh had duels, Pokemon had different battles and the Pokemon of the Week. Xiaolin Showdown had pretty much every unique game imaginable.
The titular Xiaolin Showdown.
Exactly. Dinosaur chess.
Yep, exactly. And like I say, a giant chessboard basically raised itself from the ground, and all of the chess pieces, in a really, really neat touch, instead of the standard chess pieces, they're all different dinosaurs, which really, really awesome right here. It's better than wizard chess from Harry Potter, but not as cool as actual battle chess, so it's kind of in the middle there.
Mm-hmm.
And it's probably more smarter than chess boxing, which is a real sport, and yes, it is literally chess and boxing mixed, which, if you haven't seen it, see it. It is insane. But getting back to this. The two then begin playing chess, with Raimundo using the Ruby of Ramses and the T-Rex using her tail to move the pieces. The two continue to play for a while as Ami is surprised at Raimundo being a chess player, and Kimiko notes that she's surprised that Raimundo is able to do anything with his head. Clay asks Dojo how the game's going, as Dojo notes that chess isn't his game, with him being more of a tic-tac-toe kind of dragon. Oh, go ahead, Angron.
Yeah, I also like how the T-Rex still uses the changing chopsticks to match Raimundo's Ruby of Ramses. Like, shrinking pieces. Like, she doesn't do it all that often, but it is very nifty that she does that, because like she matches wits with Raimundo, and doing something like that is 100% a pro gamer dino move, hands down.
Easily. Starkey, you were saying?
Yeah. Basically, I don't know why I had to mention this. Basically, they wager their Shengong Wus, and they usually use that Shengong Wu in the Xiaolin Showdown. So that's why basically that's why they were allowed to use those.
Yep, pretty much a high risk, high reward sort of deal.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. However, eventually, Raimundo smacks the T-Rex in one of the chess pieces before she smashes him in between two of them. She then says that he fell right into her trap, as Raimundo notes that no, he basically pulls a no you on her, and that she fell into his trap. Using the Ruby of Ramses, he manages to cause a checkmate, which causes her to be shocked and the arena to collapse, with her basically falling off and seemingly falling to her death, which is pretty interesting here, even though it's subverted a couple of seconds later. Before that, go ahead, Chuck.
Yeah, I think that has to be seen, honestly, but it's still funny, is the T-Rex reaction to realizing that she lost the game. Like, the jaw drops and the eyes she makes, like, a really, really funny face.
Yeah, I love when they do that in the show. Like, that particular face in this show is honestly funnier than it should be.
Easily.
Sometimes.
It is hilarious when they do stuff like that.
Yeah.
But what happens, of course, is that the arena then disappears as they are all back in the oil rig. As the group all congratulates Raimundo, he notes that chess is more physical than I thought. Kimiko then wonders what they should do with the T-Rex, who... It's kind of weird here because, for all intents and purposes, I guess she's technically feral, despite the fact that she still has like the human-style design of eyes and things like that, which kind of an interesting thing here. There, I wonder if like they forgot to change the eyes back to how they originally were, or if they meant for her to talk but forgot to put it in the script or something. But it's interesting to note here. Go ahead, Angron.
Honestly, the fact that she's still holding the changing chopsticks for the most part means that she was still intelligent while being directed by the others on what to do. But I kind of feel this moment's a bit dubious in that regard. But I choose to believe that with her holding the changing chopsticks and her eyes having not changed back to her feral mindset, I think she was still intelligent for the most part.
Yep. But basically, Kimiko then asks what they should do with the T-Rex because they can't turn her back to oil, as that wouldn't be right. But they can't let the T-Rex roam free either. Ami says they can keep the T-Rex at the temple, as Clay wonders how, saying that they can barely fit him in there, in a pretty cute joke. However, Ami then uses the changing chopsticks to make the T-Rex tiny, and it's here we get probably the cutest moment of the episode with the ending of it, because we cut to both Jack Spicer's evil boy geniuses, dinosaurs, and the T-Rex on like a tiny terrarium, which really is adorable, just seeing like wander around in that. Dojo notes how cute they are when they're that small before the T-Rex bites one of his fingers. The episode basically ends with Clay noting, "That's our dojo," as they all laugh together. Typical animated show ending, but yeah, that's a lot of fun, like I say, with the thing in that. Oh, go ahead, Matt, before that.
The ending really missed a very important line. Do you think God stays in heaven because he too lives in fear of what he's created here on earth?
Oh my gosh.
Nice. I honestly didn't expect that, but yeah. Basically the dojo did what freaking Dr. Hammond couldn't do and ran a more successful Jurassic Park than basically Ilsa Sornar and Ilsa Nublar. Also,
Yep,
the flea. Also, something flea circuses. Something freaking playing God.
Yep. And they also ran it better than Jurassic World as well. Gotta give them credit for that. So,
Yeah.
basically, yep. So basically, Xiaolin Showdown actually ended with this season, and you think this would be the end of it, but surprisingly, in 2011, 2012, they made a sequel show called Xiaolin Chronicles, and they replaced most of the voice actors with the exception of Tara Strong. However, they also brought in other famous voice actresses, such as Cree Summer and Jennifer Hale, and they also got Eric Bauza in it as well. And it's interesting they did that. Apparently, it goes for a CGI style, but it's shaded CGI, so it definitely looks interesting. I haven't seen the Xiaolin Chronicles, so I can't say of its quality, but it definitely seems that they would revive it like that, which means it must have been somewhat popular.
It only had one season, and it was half the length of the original series.
And looking at the poster on WCO, I don't know how to feel about this.
And the last 6 episodes were only streamed on Netflix.
Oh, wow. So they couldn't even air it on television. Ouch.
That sucks.
Matthew, you were saying?
That's what I was going to say, that it was so unpopular that they just left the last 6 episodes to rot.
Ew.
Yeah, that definitely is not good there. But, like I say, for this show in general, I definitely enjoyed it. Like I say, I think it's a really creative one in a way that I give them credit. It's a lot of fun. It's one of those things that could very easily see why it was so popular to begin with, because it has action, it has comedy, it has like the things that kids were into at the time, of like collecting everything, like with the monsters, in this case the Shengon Wu. And again, I liked it because again, the voice acting cast, everything about it, it clicked. It's one of those things where it really showed how popular it was, in that, you know, it really feels like it's a show both of its time and timeless, if that makes any sense.
Yeah. I really enjoyed this show as a kid. Like, there were many plot lines that were more serious than they should be, but there were also moments where the show remembers what it is. It's a cartoon, and as such, it acts 100% cartoony, and I very much love that. There are a lot of great moments in this. Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius, Omi, freaking Clay, like, so many things in this show were amazing. This episode being one of them. But yeah, I might go back and watch more of this series if I'm being honest. Now that I've refamiliarized myself with this, because good lordy, do I love this. Stryker, sorry.
Yeah, you're saying?
not only was the formula perfect for the show, it was also popular because at the end of each episode they had an advertisement for the card game that was that they had, and if you send in your design for a Shengong Wu, it would be made into a card.
Nice.
Ooh, interesting.
Yeah.
You know what? Huh. Definitely sounds neat in that. So that's going to lead to the question of the week, which is, what is your favorite karate cartoon? Or rather, basically, let's do it this way. In terms of karate, we also mean not just shows that are about karate, but also shows that have a similar kind of feel or vibe to it. I'm going to go first, and my pick is going to be one that, it's funny because I wasn't really as big of a fan of it as a kid. I think I liked some other shows better, but looking back, it absolutely holds up in ways that, I feel are better than others. And that's going to be American and Dragon Jake Long, which, surprise, surprise, the
Damn.
Dragon podcast is going to like the show about the guy turning into a dragon. Surprise, surprise. But
Nice.
yeah, no, it's a fun show. Great characters, great character design. Really fun setting in that. It feels unique in a way that a lot of shows don't feel. And I will say this: the first maybe 5 episodes are kind of rough. There's a lot of like annoyance and stuff like that. But once you get past that, and it really starts going to like the mythos, like the arc of the show, and that it gets really, really good. And the fact that it was able to wrap everything up in a pretty nice bow, despite having the 65 episode limit slapped onto it that Disney did with all their shows back then, it turned out really, really good. Like, great art direction, great voice cast and everything, and it really, really is a good show. One sore spot, which is this: they did not make the mom into a dragon. That is the one thing that it annoyed me as a kid. It annoys me as a 31-year-old man. Why did you not let the mother have a dragon form? Even if it was for like 1 episode. Just please do it,
How dare you?
It was hinted that she was also a dragon, but they never gave her one.
Exactly.
You
It's like one of those things,
bastards.
like, it's so obvious. It's like, why would you do that? But
Apparently,
that
there's
being
like
said,
a skip generation thing with a dragon gin or something like that.
yeah. I mean, yeah, Matt's comment there is absolutely right. But like I said, and Stryker as well, but yeah, basically what I had to say though is that getting past that was just a little bit of, change it there. But getting back to it, it's a really good show. And again, I will say this too: the season 2 redesigns, they're a mixed bag. It's one of those things that, like, if they didn't do it, if it was the same designs as season 1, I feel like it could have gone like Kim Possible and maybe even gotten another season. Like, because I feel like season 2, the redesigns are what killed it. That's what like stabbed it kind of in the thing, unfortunately. But,
that's what killed the dragon's heart, unfortunately.
Unfortunately.
I didn't like it either.
Unfortunately, but that's going to be my choice, and maybe we'll talk about American Dragon Jake Long on the podcast so we can gush about it even some more, and I can rant more about Susan not having a dragoness form, but that's for another time. Angron, what would your pick be?
Well, sadly, I haven't watched too many. I don't remember much of the Jackie Chan animated cartoon, and unfortunately, all the other ones that I haven't really that I've seen, Monkey Kid and or anything else, don't exactly come to mind all that much. Even the Sentai, I don't fully haven't fully familiarized myself with. So I think I'm going to be the outlier and 100% go with the OG Dragon Ball. I have nothing against what Dragon Ball Z did for the most part. I haven't seen GT yet, though I've heard mixed things about it. Dragon Ball Super basically goes back to freaking Dragon Ball for the most part, despite also having Dragon Ball Z stuff thrown in it. And Heroes is basically just Loki, but Akira Toriyama flavored. But I will 100% hold Dragon Ball to a high regard for one reason. It is the most grounded of the bunch. Like, yeah, I do not hate what they did with Dragon Ball Z for the most part, but there's something about the original Dragon Ball that very much stays with me more than Z for many reasons. Like, yeah, Team 4-Star aside, I will 100% choose to hold Dragon Ball on a high pedestal for its groundedness, for the fact that it's roots in Journey to the West are a bit more pronounced here. The fact that it has more like goofiness, more like hilarity. The designs here are softer, not exactly rigid like in Dragon Ball Z. And like there are so many memorable moments here. Like Chi-Chi not exactly being what she is in Z and beyond. Freaking Piccolo being a menace before becoming more or less an anti-hero, before eventually becoming part of the good guys for the most part. Like this is pre-Saiyan arc, and they did so much right with this. Like Goku here is pretty darn amazing. Like he's basically the Sun Wukong of the bunch, and he is amazing. Like we have Yamcha being, yeah, we have Yamcha being kick-ass before Z nerfed him to high frickin' heaven. I am still sore about that. We have the Red Ribbon Army arc. We have the Piccolo arc. We have so many amazing things. We have recurring dictator Pilaf and his two goons, which always nice to see freaking characters get their just comeuppance in many ways or another. We also have mainstays like the Uzuru, Oolong, Master Roshi, which he is 100% the GOAT. Let's be fair. We have Bulma. We have the Dragon Balls, which were basically the more sought after MacGuffin of this series before they basically became a little crazier in later generations, like again Z and beyond. But yeah, here they're treated as more important and with more sincerity, which I 100% can get behind. So yeah, I am 100% going to say this, if not Jackie Chan the animated series, if not freaking any of the Sentai or Power Rangers, and if not JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, because even though it technically has a bit of martial arts stuff, after Phantom Blood and Battle Tendencies, they kind of lean away from the martial arts stuff. So I'm definitely going to go with Dragon Ball, the OG.
That is a great choice right there. I wonder if someone was going to end up picking that. And like I say, that is a great choice there. I have nothing to add that you pretty much didn't already say. Like,
nice.
It's a show that is an absolute legend for a reason there.
Yeah, I prefer it over Z for a very good reason.
Yeah, I kind of do as well. Like, I feel like the tone of it works a little bit better. It sounds probably sacrilege. I know my fellow countrymen are going to beat me to death for saying that. I prefer Ball over Z, but I kind of do. You know, it's a lot of fun. But
yeah.
Yep. Anyway, let's see who's next here. Matt, what would your pick be?
So I was thinking I could go with like any number of a dozen plus anime, but that was too easy. So
yeah,
instead,
too easy.
So instead, I've decided to Samurai Jack post again.
Oh, yeah.
Nice.
Perfect choice.
Nice. People forget that Samurai Jack, Jack wasn't just a swordsman. Like, he was a very skilled martial artist, and he used that a lot in the series.
Yeah, one could say he was a jack of all trades. Hello.
Yuck. One of my favorite episodes, and that says a lot about this series as a whole, was episode 36, Jack, the Monks, and the Ancient Master's Son, where he is fighting alongside a clan of Xiaolin monks to try and get to a time portal that they know about. And it's one of those episodes that really shows off just how good Tartakovsky is at fighting choreography, because the entire episode is just bombastic fight after fight after fight with such good martial arts. And it shows how, like, Jack's true character, because even though if he went back in time and these people wouldn't matter, he refuses to do that and stays in the future to save them, even at the cost of his ability to go back to the past.
I 100% agree. Samurai Jack is, again, a very variable samurai. He is a ninja, he is a monk, he is an archer, he's a gangster from that one episode, let's be honest. Mm-hmm. He is generally a 100% awesome guy, and like moments like this where he chooses his own Shaolin brothers over returning to the past 100% works, and I am there for that. Like, I 100% agree with you.
Yeah, I definitely have to agree with you there. Like I say, it's one of those shows that really stands out for a reason. And as mixed as season 5 was, I'm glad that it really got a definite ending in a way.
Yep.
You know, I give them a lot of credit, like where credit is due, that they actually did season 5, even if like a lot of people have misgivings within that. I give them all the credit in the world. So, yep, it's a great show, and that again is a great choice right there. So let's see who's next. Shark, what would your pick be?
Well, for me, I think I'm going to go with a series of movies rather than a show, and that will be the Kung Fu Panda movies.
Nice.
Great choice.
There's also Legend. There's also the Kung Fu Panda cartoon as well, so that also technically
that's
counts.
true. It does have a cartoon, but like do I really have to say a lot of these because we know these are great movies. Like the history, the characters, the art style and animation, and even the score is all beautiful. And like they really did the research with the whole martial art. Like, well, the previous 5 they are named and after real kung fu techniques, for example.
Nice.
And like the journey of the hero Paul, like from the first movie, how he has to train and become what the prophecy says, and then the inner peace with the second movie, and then finding out who he really is in the third one, and
then there's
seeing
the fourth.
what's gonna be the future in the fourth one. And like they're really good movies. They're really like no, they're fun. The animation when they fight is fun as well. It has great action, great moments. So. And like mentioned, it actually has a cartoon, which, like, yeah, of course, it's not on the same level, but it has good moments as well. And, well, Talking Flower is the main character in the cartoon, so that's a bonus.
Yep, that is true. That in the Kung Fu Panda TV series, he is not voiced by Jack Black. It was too expensive. He's voiced by Mick Wingert, who also plays the Talking Flower in Mario Wonder. Which also now makes me want to see a movie where the Talking Flower becomes a kung fu master.
Yeah. It will be
nice. Yeah.
There is a kung fu world in Wonder, so.
That is very true. Unfortunately, it's the Poplin, not the flower himself, but well, man can dream.
Yeah, and it's really easy to see why Kung Fu Panda is one of the biggest DreamWorks franchises. They certainly really did a good job with all of it.
Yep. Like definitely a good choice right there. And yeah, Kung Fu Panda is another thing we will actually be talking about on the podcast because lest we forget, it actually has believe it or not, it actually has the chameleon in the fourth one. So gonna be
and
really
also has Vipers in the other ones, as well as sequels for Furious 5.
Yep, definitely a good choice right there. So let's see, Stryker, what would your pick be?
Took me a minute to think of one actually, but then Angron mentioned it. I'm just gonna pick the entire franchise of Super Sentai.
Oh,
nice.
Ooh.
Yeah, I mainly started with in my childhood. I mainly started with stuff like Mighty Morphin Power Rangers, but at that point, I was more like, this stuff's boring because like it kept doing the same exact thing over and over, and it didn't feel like there was much of a variation.
I mean, however, we got
However, in Japan, they had the original Sentai and Super Sentai, and when I watched it, I just like, wait, I thought this stuff was gonna be boring. You know, I thought that was fun. It was much better than it was much better than the stuff that I watched as a kid. It was more fun. It was entertaining, in fact. And
yeah,
not gonna lie, I want to watch more of it.
Yeah, I will. Yeah, I'll stan Power Rangers SPD mainly because Commander Kruger's in it.
They actually did more. They actually did something interesting in that rather than what they did in the original series.
Yeah, I mean, and we also got the freaking Mighty Morphin Power Rangers X Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, which we also get to talk about later, which is going to be fun.
Oh yes.
Yep.
Oh.
Definitely. Yeah, that is another good pick. So anyway, go ahead, Ted.
Funny thing actually. I actually like the first Sentai show I ever actually like the actual Super Sentai. I actually watched Dobutsu Sentai Zuoja.
I know a friend who would probably understand that, but I've mainly been watching some of the OG TV Sentai movies like Go Ranger, Zy Ranger, R Ranger, that sort of thing.
I've wanted to watch those, but I don't have a source to watch it, so.
Yeah, I'm a little more interested in the freaking Kaku Rangers, which are basically Ninja Sentai, and the Gao Rangers, which are pretty much futuristic fantasy Sentai, which have a talking tree. But yeah, I might give those a watch sometime after I get done with SPD.
Yeah.
It's fun.
Yep, definitely sounds interesting. Like I say, another really good pick right there. So, basically, yeah, that's it for the question of the week, which really interesting answers here. Pretty good variety of them, too, so I always like when that happens. So, now it is time for the patent pending Dragoness Scale, where we rank the Dragoness, or in this case, female dinosaur. Now, for this version of the T-Rex, I actually went and looked back, and I ranked the T-Rex from Krypto. I believe I gave her a 7 out of 10. So this one, I'm going to go 1 point further, because she is better than the one from Krypto in pretty much any way. And the fact that she actually has longer screen time with her as the British accent in that, and they gave her some more character. So in this case, I'm going to give her an 8 out of 10 because, again, just as I said, I really like her design. It's a good design. Tara Strong does a good job in the voice, and of course, the electronically changing it is always a fun touch. I always like when they do that. And yeah, just in general, it really has, it's a fun character. The fact they gave this one-off dinosaur like a personality and genuine motive and things like that. I give him credit for that. I really, really do. Even if it's just a simple one, like I'm gonna eat you, it still is really cool that they did something like that. So yeah, 8 out of 10 for me. Angron, what would your pick be?
I mean, I kind of agree on the 8 out of 10 score, but honestly, I'm trying to remember what I ranked the Krypto the Superdog T-Rex, to be honest. I think I might have given her Yeah, I gave her a 9. I'm also going to give this one a 9 out of 10. I like them both. This one has a bit more screen time going for her. She is a bit smarter, all things considered. And again, more screen time. But yeah, I like them both because they're pretty much intelligent T-Rexes that pretty much give the freaking protagonist a bit of a challenge, which I very much like. Also, she gets a few brownie points for whapping away Wuya and Jack Spicer, Evil Boy Genius. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna give her a 9 out of 10 as well. Like, we got two Kids WB T-Rexes from 2 different franchises, and both are top of the class in my opinion, for the most part.
Yeah, I definitely can see why, because again, you could tell you had a lot of fun with her too, with the design and that, Anyway, let's see, Matt, what would you give her?
So this is very similar to the Krypto episode, which I gave a 7 as well. And basically, for the reasons that Lud said, this is an 8 instead. What made the Krypto one work was that it was just a sudden twist and it was hilarious. And this one works a little bit better because you get more of her talking and more of her having a personality and presenting herself, which is very nice in that respect. I like her design a little bit less than the one from Krypto, which is why it's just an 8 rather than like a 9. But that we actually had her have her personality in a decent chunk of the episode was really helpful in that regard. I don't think that with this show that kind of a twist would have worked as well, so they went with the better option for the style of show that Xiaolin Showdown is.
Yeah, I definitely gotta agree. While yeah, the Krypto design is a lot softer, it's more unique, and I very much enjoy it a bit more than Xiaolin Showdown. I also like the Xiaolin Showdown one. It's fun, it's charming, and it's unique for the show, basically.
Yep. Really good one there. Give him a lot of credit. Yep. So anyway, let's see. Stryker, what would you give him?
You know what? I'm going with an 8.
Okay.
Because I thought she was because I do think she's a lot better than the Krypto Dino, but this one just feels like, honestly, I just loved her a lot. I just loved her, to be honest, and I just wish they would do. I wish this character got her own show, to be honest.
Yeah, I wish she did more in the show, to be honest. Like, I think she still keeps her intelligence by the end of it for the most part, but yeah, I think they should have done more with her.
I also love the detail with the voice, actually, because just not only did they give her a female voice, they also pitch shifted, which was actually a neat detail.
Yep.
Yep, definitely. Let's see, and for the last but not least, Shark.
Hold on. I think I'm gonna continue the 8 out of 10 train thing we have over here.
Okay.
Yeah, because for what little we get about her, she only shows by the final third. She has a lot to do. She does a lot. Like, from the moment she awakens, from the moment she gets intelligence, the boys they give her, how she acts in the showdown itself. It's they really did a lot with her. Funnily enough, like, it's not a random. I mean, for starters, the fact that they gave her intelligence is like a lot, because wow, they could have simply have her feral and like, the showdown is against Jack Spicer, Boy Genius, while the T-Rex attacks or something like that. But nope, they made her the final enemy of the episode, and that's pretty fun. That's pretty fun. Having her in talk, having her use her strength for the showdown itself. And yeah, I do like how there's like little details, like how her eyes change between being feral and being actually intelligent. Like, and yeah, compared to the Krypto one, since everybody is doing it, she does a lot more. So that really helps as well.
Yep.
Of course, there is a thing at the end that it's not very clear if she went feral again or if she retained her intelligence. I think an easy fix that would have been fun is like, after biting Dojo, she lets out a very high pitch, "I hate you, ow," or something like that. But
That would have been
cute.
yeah.
Could have been a lot of fun.
For what we got, they give her a lot, and it's a really fun character overall. So 8 out of 10.
Yep, great right there. So yeah, like I say, definitely a really interesting episode to talk about. Had a lot of fun with it, and that'll be it for this week's episode. If you have any questions, or if you want to send us your idea for a Dragoness form for Wuya, because with that design, you can know she needed to be a Dragoness, and I don't think we got one, sadly.
Yeah, she 100% like does this thing where she like goes to players by putting a target on her butt and a pointed sign saying right here.
Like that is, that right there says it all. So that'll be it for this week. And if you have any other questions in that, you can email us at fierydiscourse@outlook.com. Visit us on Twitter at twitter.com/fierydiscourse. Visit us on Blue Sky at Blue Sky Fiery Discourse. Be sure to subscribe to the Fiery Discourse YouTube channel, subscribe to the playlist, like the video, hit the bell icon, and also leave any and all comments. They're always appreciated. Also, one of our co-hosts, Lucky Evie, is looking to get to a group home in the UK. That will also be in the description if anyone wants to help. Any and all help is appreciated. Next week, we'll be talking about the 2023 Farming Life in Another World episode, The Researcher and the Two Princesses, for our next theme month of Isekai month. Isekai month, forgive me, sorry. Isekai month. And that'll be really interesting because it's our next theme month after, of course, Jurassic July, which will be in July. For the month of May, all of the episodes are going to be going to be Isekai animes, which will be really interesting to talk about. Looking forward to that. Starting, of course, with this one. Yep. Because we haven't really covered that before on the podcast, so whole month of it might work. And thank you guys so much for watching. And until then, take care and see you next week.
Later.
Peace out.
Adios. See you all next week.